Good evening and welcome to Easy Friday. I'm Karen Kibet, and as the world eases into the weekend, we are here to help you catch up on the stories everyone will be talking about, from major global developments and breaking headlines to inspiring local moments and conversations shaping our communities. Settle in as we take you through the moments that defined this Friday and the stories setting the tone for the weekend ahead. Here are the highlights. The best out of the best. The 2 weeks of the 98th edition of the Kenya Music Festival culminated at Bungoma State Lodge with a state concert featuring winners in various categories. Roadmap to 2027 elections. The Media Council of Kenya joins hands with the Kenya Editors Guild to launch guidelines to guide media coverage of the 2027 general elections. Agony of cattle rustling in Meru. Lawyers representing victims in Tigania East moved to the High Court to seek compensation for families affected by the attacks. Welcome, this is Easy Friday. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lucy Mwaura. Now, President William Ruto has directed the State Department of Youth Affairs to immediately roll out the Kenya National Talent Search Program to aid in the identification and development of talent across the country. The head of state has further proposed the program's inaugural theme to be Kenya Beyond 2030. The president, who spoke in Bungoma during the Kenya Music Festival state concert, said the theme will also be used in all school creative events beginning next year.
The 2 weeks of the 98th edition of the Kenya Music Festival culminated at Bungoma State Lodge with a state concert featuring winners in various categories. Traditional attires, dances and songs characterized the concert as participants showcased Kenya's rich culture. Performers in each category did not disappoint, as every move displayed the talent and creativity that earned them the top spot.
Na waziri na timu yako pangana na hawa watu ili mashule colleges ambazo wameperform hapa leo, kila shule tuwapatie milioni 5.
Among those invited to perform were 170 students from neighboring Uganda. In his speech, President William Ruto underscored the place of music and the arts in the country and their prominence in the competency-based education system.
Under the competence-based education, music, drama, sports and arts are not marginal activities to be funded from whatever remains after everything else. They are recognized career pathways.
Music, the arts, and the creatives are part and parcel of the curriculum in our schools.
To ensure talent is discovered and nurtured at an early age, President Ruto called for the immediate establishment of the Kenya National Talent Search Program.
The State Department for Youth, working in collaboration with the Creative Economy Office and with the support of Sports Fund, must now move with urgency to roll out the program without further delay. I propose that its inaugural theme be Kenya Beyond 2030. Beginning next year, school creative events shall also carry this theme. Let our young people use their creativity to imagine Kenya's future development.
This vision is led by Thinking, Your Excellency. And this is a thinking that you have introduced, the platform for us to have a conversation for the 2060 vision.
President Ruto at the same time vowed to ensure artists in the country are protected from external exploitation, noting that since the establishment of payment of royalties through e-Citizen, a minimum of 70% has been going to artists. The performances, a blend of diverse Kenyan cultures, is an indication of just how much talent lies within our borders. Nancy Opare, reporting from Bungoma State County.
Thank you, Kware, for that report. Moving on, Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has reassured Kenyans of the government's commitment to maintaining peace and security as the country enters the election year. The CS called on Kenyans to support leaders who embrace peaceful, issue-based campaigns and urged politicians to conduct themselves responsibly. While drumming up support for Kenya's new development vision beyond Vision 2030, the CS rallied Kenyans and leaders across the political divide to unite in shaping Kenya's long-term development trajectory, urging them not to subject the vision to the electoral cycle. Murkomen spoke in Machakos during the 61st graduation ceremony of Scott Christian University.
One of the things that the president said, which is profound this week, is that beyond 2030 vision cannot wait for elections, because no matter who is elected, the country must have a guiding star, a vision that helps us, enable us to dream big as a country. And even as we go to that elections, I want to encourage you, parents who are here, students, and all of us who are Kenyans, that let us support leaders who are engaging in peaceful elections, who are not hiring goons, who are not dealing with violence.
Now, Democracy for the Citizens Party DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua has come to the defense of former President Uhuru Kenyatta over claims by a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders that he is sponsoring the opposition against the ruling administration. Speaking after starting his two-day political tour of Nakuru County, Gachagua urged the Kenya Kwanza leaders to instead focus on addressing challenges facing the country. Here is our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim with the details.
The DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua kicked off his two-day visit of Nakuru County, Naivasha constituency, where he opened a DCP party office.
Try to divert attention by attacking President Uhuru Kenyatta so that the people of Kenya can abandon that debate and start defending President Uhuru Kenyatta.
The former deputy president castigated a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders for what he claims is aimlessly blaming the former president Uhuru Kenyatta for their political woes.
The woes that you face were not caused by President Uhuru Kenyatta. They are self-inflicted.
Mimi mwenyewe nimemshauri ndugu Uhuru Kenyatta akae kando. Yeye amewahi kuwa rais wa jamhuri ya awamu ya 4. Sitaki apakwe matope.
Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta ametenda kazi yake, na hiyo kazi yote tumetenda inaonekana wazi. Maendeleo inajulikana hata hapa Narok, title deeds tumetoa.
Gachagua challenged leaders allied to the ruling party to focus their efforts in addressing the concerns of Kenyans.
Ambia yeye asikubali kudanganywa na yule jamaa. Yeye ajipange kama anajipanga, na akiona imekuwa ngumu kabisa, yeye akuje.
Kenya haitachagua project. Ati unatuletea watu yako wakuwe wanatawala, lakini wewe ndio uko na remote control.
Leave President Uhuru Kenyatta alone. President Uhuru Kenyatta is retired, and face your competitor Rigathi Gachagua.
This comes as his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka predicts a landslide victory for the opposition in the 2027 general election. Kalonzo, who spoke in Malindi, Kilifi County after he received several leaders who have defected from the ruling UDA party to Wiper, proposed that the former Public Service Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa for the position of deputy party leader days after she announces leaving.
Mapenzi mengi. Gavana wa Kilifi aitwa nani? Aisha. Na mimi niko tayari kumkabidhi tikiti ya chama cha Wiper Patriotic Front.
Finally, a section of Ukambani leaders led by Mwala Member of Parliament Vincent Musyoka Kawaya said 25 years in the opposition was enough for the region and urged Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka to embrace a working relationship with President William Ruto.
25 years
is enough for us to be in opposition. Kwa sababu opposition haina chochote. Kwa nini tunachochewa? Kwa nini tunadanganywa?
Wale wengine wanataka hii kiti ya urais. Wanaenda kwa TV wanaulizwa, haya tukupatie leo, utafanya nini? Hakuna kitu hata moja wanasema watafanyia wananchi wa Kenya.
Hao watu wa upinzani ambao wameshindwa kujipanga, wao wanafikiria the next election na mambo yao.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Easy Friday.
The Media Council of Kenya and the Kenya Editors Guild have launched a strategic plan for 2026 to 2030, alongside guidelines to guide media coverage of the 2027 general election. The framework seeks to promote professional, accurate, balanced and responsible journalism as the country prepares for the hot contested polls.
Speaking during the launch, Information, Communications and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo urged journalists and media houses to uphold neutrality, objectivity and professionalism when covering political campaigns and the 2027 elections. Kabogo saying the media has a responsibility to provide Kenyans with accurate and impartial information while avoiding coverage that could heighten political tensions or undermine public confidence in the electoral process.
We are talking about responsible journalism. You cannot be able to be a journalist and participate in campaigns or in saying this is a better person than the other or so and so. You should be neutral so that you give neutral, proper coverage. And this is what we ask of journalists.
As part of efforts to support journalists during the electioneering period, CS Kabogo also commissioned a media hub that will provide journalists with a conducive environment and free working space during the election period, as demand for coverage is expected to rise.
It is a space where our members will be able to work. For a long time, our members have been working from the sidelines. Some of them have been working from the cyber, ambazo zimekuwa very expensive to them, and we feel that with the fully equipped media hub, fully equipped with internet, laptops and desks, it will be convenient for our members.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Editors Guild has called on political leaders, state agencies and other stakeholders to respect media independence and allow journalists to perform their duties without intimidation or interference.
Technology may change the tools of election reporting, but it must never change the fundamentals of journalism. Verify before you amplify. Be fair. Provide context and put the public interest first.
Sentiments echoed by Media Council underscoring the urgent need for increased training and capacity building to equip journalists with the skills required to cover elections professionally and responsibly.
We have a duty to ensure that the scoops and the breaking news does not outweigh the duty to deliver credible facts. Breaking news must not be mistaken for breaking the country. If the politicians and leaders want the information read, allow journalists to read the manifestos, look at the speeches and the facts.
Michael Mondiga for Easy Friday.
Now, the Mother and Child exhibition has kicked off in Nairobi, bringing together families, businesses and organizations focused on improving the welfare of mothers and children. The exhibition provides a platform for maternal health stakeholders to showcase products and services while creating opportunities for partnerships and solutions addressing the needs of families. Addressing the media, Nairobi County Member of Parliament Esther Passaris emphasized the importance of supporting mothers and children as a foundation for stronger communities.
Events such as this give us an opportunity not only to showcase products and services, but also to share ideas build partnerships, create solutions that respond to the real needs of families. I encourage all the exhibitors and visitors to make the most of this platform. Let us connect, let us learn from one another, support local businesses, and explore opportunities that can make a meaningful difference in the lives of families. To the mothers, you are the heart of our families and communities. To our, even our fathers, to our children, you are our greatest hope and our future.
Nairobi West also has the services they're providing. Please, the next 3 days, please come in, walk around, you'll get something for yourself.
A man has been charged with personification after allegedly posing as a Communications Authority of Kenya officer with intent to deceive employees at Meiso Company along River Road. Francis Tony Mwai, who appeared before resident magistrate Joan Marty at the Milimani Law Courts, denied the charge and was released on 500,000 shillings bond, with a case set to be mentioned on 1 September 2026 for pre-trial directions.
Parties, the court directs as follows: cash bail of 100,000 Kenya shillings and 2 contact persons. On the alternative, bond of 500,000 shillings and 1 surety of a similar amount. You will come for a mention for pretrial on 1st of September 2026.
Now, for decades, cattle rustling and bandit attacks in parts of Meru County have left behind destruction, deaths and broken families. Subsequently, lawyers representing victims in Tigania East have moved to the High Court seeking compensation for families affected by the attacks, as well as government action to protect communities living in the affected areas. The petition alleges that more than 200 people were killed and over 15,000 livestock stolen between October 2023 and March 2026. But behind those figures and families still counting the cost of violence, here is that report.
A visit to the home of Sarah Kathuri, a widow in Tigania East Sub-County, reveals the pain and struggles faced by families who have lost their loved ones to banditry. Sarah, who is a mother of 5, narrated how her husband was shot dead by bandits during a raid before the attackers drove away with 35 heads of cattle.
Siku moja ikapika, bwana wangu akauawa na waisi. Nikawachwa bila kabisa. Na ng'ombe niko na watoto kwa shule. Na sina kitu cha kuendesha watoto shule. Niko na university na college. Nilikuwa hivi tu. Sina kitu hata nini.
Another family carries a similar wound. Selina Nkatha Kimani lost her husband at Kenya Police Reservice after he was shot dead by cattle rustlers.
Bila nataka kusaidiwa na serikali, watoto wangu wako shule. Hawana vyakula. Ng'ombe zote ziliibiwa. Hakuna kenye niko naso na naasho na wao watoto 9.
It is against the backdrop of the persistent attacks that lawyers Muthe Kiunga and Eric Murioki have filed a constitutional petition at the Meru High Court.
The reason why we went to court is because these numbers, these statistics, they are not just numbers on a paper. These are lives of people. Hii ni maisha ya watu. Ukisikia ng'ombe 15,000 zimeenda. Ukisikia watu 200 wameumizwa, wameuliwa. Ukisikia watu 1000 wameumizwa, wako na majeraha ya risasi. Hizi ni familia.
The petition is also seeking adequate compensation for the victims of the attacks and families who have lost their loved ones and sources of livelihood.
Tunaomba serikali ifanye investigation kama vile walifanya wale watu wameuawa kwa maandamano na mambo mengine. Wafanye comprehensive investigation. Wa document ni watu wangapi wameuawa, ni ng'ombe ngapi zimeenda, na compensation yao ni kiasi gani, ndio hawa watu wapate haki yao.
For the families, the real measure of justice may not only be compensation, but it may also be whether they can finally live and graze their cattle without ever looking over their shoulders. Bruce Mayoyo for Easy Friday.
Moving on, the Ministry of Education has reiterated the need of universities in the country to move beyond producing job seekers and instead nurture innovators and entrepreneurs. Speaking during the 46th graduation ceremony at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, TVET Principal Secretary Dr. Esther Muoria noted that academic qualifications of graduates must translate into solutions, jobs, and better livelihoods.
For the thousands of graduates, Friday was a day to celebrate years of hard work, sacrifice, and perseverance. More than 5,000 graduates received PhDs, master's degrees, undergraduate degrees, diplomas, and certificates during JKUAT's 46th graduation ceremony, presided over by TVET Principal Secretary Dr. Esther Muoria. In her address, PS Muoria challenged universities to take research beyond academic publications and turn innovations into viable products, services, and enterprises.
That is the way we are going to move away from creating people who are looking for jobs to creating people who are creating enterprises that are going to employ others.
Muoria said universities have the talent and research capacity needed to help Kenya industrialize, but this can only happen if institutions become deliberate about taking innovation from the laboratory to the market.
We can do the research here, get the product here, which is an innovation, be able to scale it to an enterprise so that they pick it up, start the enterprise, and that is how this country is going to industrialize.
Meanwhile, JKUAT Chancellor Professor Joseph Ndungu said the university's growing research and innovation portfolio is already showing what can happen when academic knowledge is connected to real-life challenges. He mentioned research in agricultural biotechnology, artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, and climate-resilient farming as examples of work responding to the needs of communities.
We need to ensure that any research we are doing goes to publications, but also has an impact to our communities and society. It is critical that it finds its way into farms, enterprises, public institutions, and households, where it would most likely improve livelihoods and widen opportunities.
Joseph Ohungu for Easy Friday.
Now, it can live in your body for years without showing any signs, yet it can eventually destroy the liver and lead to cancer. Hepatitis B is putting communities in Baringo at risk, with researchers warning that the virus is spreading within households while many people remain unaware they are infected. For those who know their status, assessing the tests needed to monitor the disease can also be costly and difficult. Now, new technology is bringing advanced hepatitis B testing closer to the communities. Ben Chumba has this story from Baringo.
Kaambia Gladys, hii ni dawa ya ukimwi. Akaniambia hapana. Ni hepatitis B. Nikaambia kama kuna ukimwi mimi naona hiyo ndio itarahisisha hii ugonjwa itoke.
For Jennifer, the diagnosis came as a shock. She was diagnosed with hepatitis B in 2025 and immediately started treatment. But even after beginning medication, the journey has not been easy.
Kama una chakula uweze afford hiyo kukula hiyo dawa. Juu saa zingine inakuweka kuwa weak, saa zingine hata saa ingine dawa ikikuwa mingi kwa mwili utapata pressure.
For Jennifer, the disease is not only a medical problem, it is also a financial burden. And she is not alone. In Baringo, researchers have been studying hepatitis B for years, trying to understand why the disease is particularly common in parts of the county.
We have noticed that this disease is common, is actually transmitted within the household. Hepatitis B, you can stay with that disease for 20 years without even knowing you are infected. That's why we call it a silent epidemic.
The virus can also pass from an infected mother to her child, particularly around the time of birth. But perhaps the biggest challenge is that many people do not know they are infected.
The people who are in the age of 35 and 45, they are the most affected. We have children, and I can count up to 8 children who are below 10 years but are infected.
Joseph Kemboi knows what it means to live with the uncertainty that comes with the disease. Before he knew he had hepatitis B, he was treated for other illnesses.
Nilikuwa nakaa na konjeka, kila mara naenda hospitali napimwa malaria, hiyo hakuna, napimwa typhoid, nasemekana kuna typhoid, sasa napewa matibabu, lakini baada ya kumeza hata hiyo na kutumia dawa kidogo ninapona, alafu inarudi tena.
The diagnosis changed his life, but telling his family was another challenge.
Wao walikuwa wameshuhudia pia watu wakifa, wakishikwa, na wanasemekana ugonjwa yenye lumua ni hepatitis B. So lakini mimi niliwapa motisha, nikawaambia kwamba familia yangu mimi wanategemea Mungu. Pia changamoto yenye ilikuwa kuna hii unyanyapaa. Unakuta watu wa jamii wakiona pengine uko naye ama wamesikia uko naye, unaona hata unapoongea na mtu unaelewa tu kwa hisia zake. Mtu anafikiria mambo zingine, anasema huyu ni mtu ako na hepatitis B.
But even after a person tests positive, the process does not end there. Health workers say patients may require further tests. In Baringo, access to some of these tests has been a major challenge.
Like the viral load, we don't have within the county, not even. More majorly, we refer them to the private sector, in which it's costly. It can cost between 10 to 14,000 for that person to do that.
It is this gap that a new testing approach is seeking to address. During a hepatitis screening campaign in Baringo, Egyptian diagnostics company Remedy deployed portable molecular testing equipment that can be taken closer to communities. Instead of collecting samples and sending patients elsewhere for confirmatory testing, the technology allows testing to be carried out closer to where the patients live.
We wanted to innovate and make these tests more suitable for the environments that we operate in. Our technology, African-made technology, we can go into the field in very underserved areas and test the patients on spot. We save them the time, the effort, and the hardship to go get a test, and we motivate them to get testing because the test goes right directly and goes to them directly.
It can take up to 4 samples. The Magna 32 can take up to 32 samples at a time.
The equipment is designed for environments where electricity and laboratory infrastructure may be limited.
This is where the magic happens. Beyond the campaign awareness, health experts are also demonstrating how advanced laboratory technology can be used to produce multiple samples simultaneously to ensure that they get accurate and faster test results.
This head can take, for example, 16 samples for hepatitis B, and this head can take other 16 samples for hepatitis C.
Once a patient tests positive through the initial rapid screening, the sample can undergo confirmatory molecular testing.
Once they have any positive sample, we do the confirmatory testing by using our machines. And this first thing we do the rapid test, and then any positive sample we do for the PCR testing, and in 2 hours the people they're having their results.
But technology alone will not end hepatitis B.
And we need to actually go to the communities and sensitize them and give them the messaging about hepatitis so that we create that awareness and people will be able to come and take the test, know their status, because actually hepatitis is a silent killer disease.
We collaborate with counties or governors because we can move anywhere, and you don't need to take the samples and go to Nairobi and come back, which is take a lot of time. Now we can cooperate with them and do this in less time.
For Jennifer, knowing her status has helped her take control of her health. But she says the reality of living with hepatitis B is a daily struggle, particularly when money and food are scarce.
Atapata wapi? Kuna wengine wanakufa kwa sababu ya kukosa kitu ya kujisaidia naye.
For patients like Jennifer and Joseph, early diagnosis could mean the difference between living with the disease and discovering it when it is already too late. Because for a disease that can remain hidden for years, knowing your status may be the first step. Ben Chumba, Easy Friday.
Thank you very much, Ben Chumba, for that detailed report. Moving on, Nairobi's night sky becomes a canvas of friendship and diplomacy as 500 drones illuminated the skies above Nyayo National Stadium. From the Kenyan flag and the country's sporting icons to China's terracotta warrior and panda, the spectacular display narrated a story of two nations seeking to deepen ties beyond government and infrastructure. We will now take a short break. When we come back, we will be sure to start with the Nairobi Drone Show report. Don't go too far. I'll be back after this short break.
All right, listen up. Colgate is on a mission.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
Colgate Charcoal Gentle Clean cleans and polishes teeth for a whiter smile and a naturally fresh and clean mouth. Choose natural. Choose Colgate Charcoal.
Do you save for retirement?
Kwani mimi ni mzee? I'm still young and I've got plenty of time to start saving later. Then again, si watu wa jua kali, hatunanga hizo ma pension plans.
Kwani ujui unaweza register with an individual pension plan yenye iko regulated na RBA?
Inawakaje?
Una deposit any amount of money at any time na uko guaranteed ukikuwa mzee. Maisha yako itakuwa nywe.
Badala nakushua ni ukweli. Hadi mimi nili boost savings zangu kwa scheme yetu ya job.
Really?
Nilijua siwezi kuwa kijana forever. Sis, usikose kujipanga mapema. Tutakuwa wazee wa maana.
Ebu nionyesheni kuwa mzee wa maana.
Ensure you save and plan for your retirement during your youthful working days. Provided you are earning an income, you can join a retirement benefit scheme registered by Retirement Benefits Authority and safeguard your tomorrow. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Je, umehangaika miaka mingi kulipa rent kila mwezi? Ukalipa na bado inabidi ulipe tena, na umechoka kulipa rent hiyo katika nyumba isiyo yako? Usijali, imagine sasa unaweza pata makao yako. Serikali imejenga affordable houses na ni zako. Process ni rahisi. Una apply, unalipa deposit, unahamia, unalipa pole. Sasa kila Mkenya akona nafasi murwa ya kusema huku ni kwangu. Time ya kubonga imeisha. Sasa ni time ya kumove in kwa keja yako. Your key, your house, your time. Jisajili leo kwa mpango wa Affordable Housing Program na upate makao kwa jina lako. Tembelea tovuti yetu ya www.bomayangu.go.ke au fika site iliyo karibu nawe kote nchini. Pata makao na Boma Yangu.
Welcome back. For those joining us right now, this is Easy Friday. Now, Nairobi's night sky became a canvas of friendship and diplomacy as 500 drones illuminated the skies above Nyayo National Stadium, from the Kenyan flag and the country's sporting icons to China's terracotta warrior and panda. The spectacular display narrated a story of two nations seeking to deepen ties beyond government and infrastructure.
Now, let's switch off.
For a few minutes, Nairobi's night sky was transformed into a moving canvas.
500 drones ascended above Nyayo National Stadium, forming images that blended Kenya's identity with symbols of Chinese culture and the burgeoning partnership between the two countries. The spectacle commenced with the logo of the 2026 China-Africa Year of People-to-People Exchanges, featuring a handshake representing friendship and cooperation. The Kenyan flag and the East African Community flag followed before the display shifted to Kenya's sporting heritage. A terracotta warrior appeared to kick a football, combining one of China's most recognizable cultural symbols with Kenyan passion for sport.
Between China, Kenya, and Africa.
In a tribute to Kenya's national heritage, the country's iconic Big Five lit up the sky.
The Big Five in the sky.
Beyond culture and sport, the drones recreated some of the major infrastructure projects associated with Kenya-China cooperation, including the Mombasa-Nairobi Standard Gauge Railway, the Nairobi Expressway, Thwake Dam, and Talanta Sports City Stadium. The display also highlighted trade and collaboration. Coffee beans and tea leaves appeared alongside the words "zero tariff," underscoring China's recent decision to grant zero tariff treatment to products from Kenya and other African countries. The giant panda, an animal native to China, then appeared above Nairobi as a symbol of peace and friendship.
Warmly to the audience as a symbol of peace and friendship.
The show concluded with an image of Tiananmen Gate in Beijing, followed by the words China and Kenya, forming two red hearts that merged together.
Together, they will continue building a China-Kenya community with a shared...
Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Guo Haiyan, described the spectacle as a celebration of the depth and breadth of relationship between the two nations. The ambassador noted that, and I quote, "As an important event of the 2026 Thousands of Miles on the Silk Road, Colorful Africa, the show celebrated the rich cultures and shared bonds between our peoples while showcasing the depth and breadth of bilateral cooperation." End of quote. The drone show is one of the several activities being held in Nairobi under the 2026 China-Africa Year of People-to-People Exchanges. Government officials, civil society organizations, young people, athletes, artists, volunteers, and business representatives from Kenya and China have been participating in programs focused on women's empowerment, child protection, skills development, and social welfare. Together, the activities form part of the Thousands of Miles on the Silk Road, Colors of Africa campaign, which is documenting stories of China-Africa friendship and cooperation across the continent.
Now, learners with special needs in schools around Juja area, Kiambu County, are set to receive assistive devices aimed at easing their day-to-day learning operations. The devices, produced by the Kenyatta University Faculty of Medical Device Innovation in the Biomedical Engineering program, will include adjustable abacuses, audio tactical STEM learning kit, and talking geometry kits, among others. Joshua Joel with details.
It is a Monday morning in Kiambu County. Here, learning activities are underway.
It is all ours.
But our mission here is to establish how schools for learners with special needs cope with the need to adopt and complete the syllabus on time. We visit Kamboi School for the Deaf in Githunguri sub-county, where learning entirely depends on visuals.
Child who does not hear completely, all concentration is on vision, is focusing on the teacher, and immediately changes, immediately the child changes the direction in which the teacher is, then you lose the contact.
A few kilometers away in Thika Town, we visit Joytown Special School for the Physically Disabled. Here, we find learners on lunch break. Majority of the learners are using wheelchair for mobility. According to the school's administration, the continued use of wheelchairs has a ripple effect on the learners.
We teachers have the student in class for 8 hours. That is from 8:20 to 3:20. And for the learners at junior school.
Kenyatta University, through the Faculty of Medical Device Innovation Biomedical Engineering, is closing these gaps through students' innovation.
We have a very wide gap between academia and industry. Industry is where we have the problems where we need to get solutions. Academia, we're very good in our research and coming up with these solutions. But now we don't have that connection whereby the two are working together. And this is how we now sat down and wrote this grant together with our colleagues from university, Rice University, and we are happy we got a sponsorship.
We have two kinds of projects. So there's one that we work on as part of the device design project. And for this one, we pre-select the projects for the students. For that class in particular, it ends at the design phase, but we will take on those projects later on and help them to commercialize. The second tier of projects that we have is the ones they'll work on their final year. So for those ones, they start their curriculum with a course called Clinical Immersion.
David Ajay and Taekwondo Sembo, both master students, are part of the SEMA project, which aims at reducing the visual inputs for deaf students.
SEMA means to say in Swahili, however, it stands for signal, engage, monitor, and assist. So we're building an assistive technology for deaf learners so that they can be able to engage with the teachers, and so that the teacher can be able to, number one, check if they are comprehending what is being taught, and at the end of the day, assist them in learning.
In another room, Dab Design Studio B, Jennifer Nyambura takes us through the production of Zenipad cushions that help wheelchair-bound learners.
We are coming up with a Zenipad, which is a cushion that is meant to be permeable. It's meant to massage at intervals, and it's meant to ensure that moisture does not form, so that we don't have the pressure sores formed. So that means that we have to have an electrical part and a mechanical part.
On the other hand, Kenyatta University is working on adjustable abacus, audio tactical STEM learning kit, tactical 3D printed mathematical models, and talking geometry kits for visually impaired learners pursuing STEM subjects.
This is one set, which is mechanical. Another set is a talking kit, where the students will be able to feel the shape, press the shape, and know themselves which shape I've pressed or which fraction I've pressed. So it will be an electronics device with the audible speaker, whereas the student will be able independently to learn, to interact with it, and then to hear what the shape is doing.
The program has a design studio where prototyping and fabrication of medical devices are carried out.
We help them to prototype the ideas, come up with the tangible prototypes, and it doesn't end there. We also offer mentorship to the students. We run design challenges where we attract the general public. They come, they share their ideas, and we help them move from the ideation stage to the minimum viable product or prototype.
The targeted beneficiaries of this program note that they are well prepared to integrate the system into their school.
So with this project, I feel like it is going to improve the instructional strategy of commanding activeness or attention.
Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I am Joshua Joel.
Thank you so much for that report. Now, the annual Mekatilili Wamenza Festival kicked off in Shakahola, Kilifi County, to honor the Giriama heroine whose defiance against colonial rule 113 years ago continues to inspire Kenya's coastal communities. The annual festival, staged at the very site where she famously slapped colonial district commissioner Arthur Champion, blended vibrant cultural displays with urgent calls to safeguard Mijikenda traditions from erosion in the modern age.
Shakahola village in Kilifi County came alive as hundreds gathered to honor Mekatilili Wamenza, the pre-independence Giriama heroine. The Mekatilili Wamenza Festival, organized by the Malindi District Cultural Association MADCA in collaboration with Pwani University and other partners, showcased the richness of Mijikenda heritage through traditional music, dance and cultural forums. While the performances celebrated identity, community discussions highlighted the challenges facing the community in preserving its traditions amid rapid social change.
Tukisema tunamsherehekea Mekatilili si yeye peke yake. Nafikiri tunamsherehekea Mekatilili na mashujaa wengine, mwa kwanza akiwa ni mzee Wanje wa Madorikola ambaye walikuwa wote hivi wakienda wakishikwa wakienda kufungiwa kule Kisii, walikuwa pamoja.
Speakers voiced concern that foreign religions and technological disruption have weakened cultural continuity and eroded parenting structures.
Tunasherehekea kwa raha zaidi kushinda miaka ile mingine. Ile mingine tulikuwa tukipigania hilo jina likumbukwe. Sasa hivi jina limekumbukwa na mpaka sasa tunafikiria mambo ambayo tutayafanya.
District Cultural Association Spiritual Advisor Edward Kazungu said the association will conduct an annual 350-kilometer walk across Kilifi County to sensitize residents on the importance of embracing their culture.
Tamaa ya kwamba jinsi tunavyoendelea kutembea, kwa sababu kilomita 350 si mwendo mchache, ni mwendo mwingi ambao huwa tunakutana na watu zaidi ya 7,000, na hata kama si wote watachukua huo ujumbe, lakini tukizungumza na watu 7,000, watu 1,000 watakuwa mabalozi wa kupeleka hizo habari.
The speakers linked the rise of cultic practices, including the Shakahola tragedy, to the abandonment of African traditional religions in favor of foreign ones.
Anarejelea utamaduni ambao unampatia huo msingi, yani foundation. Anapata identity kwamba kama ni mtoto wewe ni Mgiriama, basi ajue huyo ni mtoto wa Kigiriama na yani asili yake ni hiyo na anahitaji kuwa na msingi huo.
Michael Mondiga for Easy Friday.
At the age of 83, veteran long-distance runner Isaac Gakugo has embarked on an ambitious 530-kilometer walk around Mount Kenya in a campaign aimed at raising funds to support needy and deserving students at Tharaka University. Gashugo is taking part in the fundraising initiative to help the university raise 50 million Kenya shillings towards its endowment fund, which seeks to provide financial assistance to students facing difficulties in paying their university fees.
The fund is expected to give bright and deserving students an opportunity to pursue and complete their university education despite financial challenges. The journey being taken by the veteran long-distance runner Isaac Gashugo began at Tharaka University earlier this month and has so far taken Gashugo through several counties including Meru, Laikipia and Nyeri. From Nyeri, the 83-year-old is expected to proceed through Kerugoya, Embu, Chuka, Kadhwana and Marimanti before completing the 530-kilometer journey and returning to Tharaka University on August 19th. The initiative has also attracted support from various well-wishers, including Tendi Hospital CEO, Dr. Jimmy Njamiu.
Nina walk 530 kilometers from Tharaka University across 6 counties up to Tharaka University 10.
Elsewhere, people living with disabilities in Migori County have called on the national and county governments to urgently repair the Migori Bridge, saying the current condition has made movement difficult and unsafe for residents in general, but even more for persons living with disability.
We want to call upon unity of our leaders to unite and make sure that they quickly repair and fast track the repair of the Migori Bridge.
Meanwhile, elderly people from various areas of Aldai constituency, Nandi County, have benefited from free cataract surgery as well as registration with the Social Health Insurance Scheme SHA in a program aimed at assisting elderly people facing challenges in accessing health services.
The goodness with cataracts is that they are reversible, though for some patients like diabetic patients, unless we are sure that the diabetes has not caused the retinopathies.
Access to birth certificate is now being made easier through a digital system as the government seeks to spare Kenyans the inconvenience of traveling long distances and queuing to access the service. The service has been launched in Nairobi and is expected to be rolled out to other parts of the country.
Mara ya kwanza katika taifa hili, certificate sasa inakuwa issued through digital format. Tunashukuru serikali kwa kuwezesha sisi kuweza kuissue certificate through digital format.
Tungeomba wakaaji wetu, haswa nitaongea kuhusu Kajiado County, ni kwamba tuache kutumia wale middlemen.
Elsewhere, nominated Senator Beatrice Ogolla has sponsored the Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Bill, which seeks to hold hospitals and health workers accountable for preventable maternal and infant deaths through fines and legal liability. The bill, which has already been passed by the Senate and is awaiting a second reading in the National Assembly.
I've also included provisions that will give penalties for people who are negligent and violate the essence of this bill.
And chiefs across Isiolo County have been directed to ensure that all residents in their areas have identity cards and are registered as voters. Professor Nura Mohammed, director of the Kenya School of Government, said many residents in Isiolo are yet to obtain national identity cards, which is a barrier to accessing government services as well as exercising their democratic right during voting exercise.
Realize that majority of our people here in Isiolo County, they have reached the age where they are expected to register, to get the ID, but majority of them don't have ID.
Finally, the Laikipia County government has launched a new road maintenance brigade comprising leased tipper trucks and county-owned heavy machinery to accelerate road construction and maintenance across the county ahead of the anticipated El Nino rains.
Tumeyafanya haya tukiangazia ya kwamba El Nino inakuja. Na wakati wa El Nino kuna drainages zitafunguliwa. Kuna kuingine, kuna dam zingine tunafaa kuzitengeneza kwa sababu ya kuhifadhi maji.
All right, listen up. Colgate is on a mission.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
Colgate Charcoal Gentle Clean cleans and polishes teeth for a whiter smile and a naturally fresh and clean mouth. Choose natural. Choose Colgate Charcoal.
The wait is over. KBC Iko Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers. Moving closer to you. Your station, your service.
And away from all the gist in the world of politics, it's now time to shift gears to the world of business, because the markets are consistently moving, the economy is changing, and we have new ideas on how to do business every day. Good evening and welcome to Easy Friday Business News. My name is Nduta Mokami. Motorists will pay 5 shillings less per litre for diesel from tomorrow, while the prices of super petrol and kerosene remain unchanged over the next 1 month. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says the pricing was after 938 million shillings was tapped from the price stabilization kitty to keep the cost of super petrol and kerosene unchanged. Data from the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority indicates that the pump price of super petrol and kerosene would have increased by 8 shillings and 64 cents and 89 cents respectively had the government not tapped the price stabilization kitty to cushion consumers. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority said the price of super petrol and kerosene remain unchanged due to additional government stabilization support measures of 938 million shillings. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says the latest review follows a reduction in the landed cost of diesel prices by 13.08% and kerosene by 11.01% between June and July. However, the cost of imported petrol rose by 6.99% during the same period. The shilling remained largely stable, exchanging at an average of 129 shillings and 74 cents to the US dollar in July, compared to 129 shillings and 72 cents in June. This has prompted EPRA to review the pump price of a litre of diesel that from midnight reduces by 5 shillings, while super petrol and kerosene has been left unchanged. There is need to support creatives turning their growing audiences in film, music, fashion and digital content into sustainable businesses and income. Trade Principal Secretary Regina Ombam says equipping creatives with skills in intellectual property and management and revenue modeling is key in enabling them to compete globally while retaining a greater share of the value they generate. Here is Trevor Ngendo with the details.
Despite growing demand for African music, films, fashion and digital content, many creators still struggle to turn that popularity into predictable and sustainable income. This is why the Creatives Connect Africa East Africa edition being held in Nairobi is focusing on commercialization and exploring ways to support creatives approach their work as viable enterprises.
This is where we are now seeing Africa getting to. This is a comparative advantage that we have in the space of trade, that we have to make sure all the players in it understand that market very well and are able to deliver on what they have to deliver in that space.
One thing that AFCFTA does is actually to bring people together. Our main goal is creating the single African market. I know most people think of it just in terms of goods, but there is services, and apart from the services component where the creatives sit, we bring together financial integration, we bring together communication integration.
So there's a lot that we can export about that to the rest of the world. It's about, a good viable idea, how you commercialize it. Financing is there. It's about what is the return the investor is getting on the investment. Are they able to get back their money if they invest in you as a creative?
They say weak intellectual property protection, limited contract literacy and fragmented revenue models are costing creatives revenue and limiting their ability to attract partnerships that benefit them financially.
It's an industry that doesn't have a lot of systems and structures, so sometimes calculating return on investment might be hard, but that is what we are solving for. And the earlier you are in the game, the better.
For me, impact is just having one influencer who tells me that this has taken me to the next level. And the other impact is just having also the institutions telling us that you've given us an opportunity to also support and grow these influencers.
The Creatives Commercialization Masterclass is addressing these gaps by equipping established creatives with skills in intellectual property, revenue modeling, contract negotiation, governance, and distribution strategy.
Financial institutions, we sit down with them. They understand how money moves. First and foremost, they understand as a brand, how do they get paid? When they get paid, how are they even able to invest that money so that they have a return for tomorrow?
Trevor Ngindo for Easy Friday.
Kenyan tea factories are set to undergo a major modernization plan as the country seeks to improve production and double revenues from tea exports. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the 7 billion shillings project involves machinery upgrades, quality control, revenue optimization, and doubling of smallholder farmer earnings.
Despite global shocks and internal conflicts in Kenyan tea markets, farmers earned 219 billion shillings in 2025. The government says plans are underway to increase earnings through a 7 billion shillings factories modernization program. This will involve installing modern machinery best suited for high-value specialty and orthodox teas, enforcing the 2 leaves and a bud rule to ensure high-grade tea quality, improving packaging standards, and establishing technical testing laboratories in Mombasa, Nairobi, and other major tea growing centers.
Wengine walikuwa na CTC teas peke yake, lakini sasa wamejiinua, wameenda orthodox tea. Wengine walikuwa wanafanya tu kuuza bila value adding. Sasa hata kuna factories zingine hata zime sasa achana na mambo ya kushughulika na watu, wanaanza value adding all their tea na wanauza na bei kali na bei ya juu.
Factories have been advised to reject poor quality tea leaves from farmers in efforts aimed at branding Kenyan tea. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says poor quality green leaf has negatively affected the Kenyan tea brands, reducing overall farmers' earnings.
Wengi wenu mnaendelea na hii 2 leaves and a bud, si ndio? Lakini yule anakuja analete hii, anaharibia bei yule ambao alikata ile na jia ile inafaa.
Kagwe says specialty and quality tea will open up new markets for Kenyan farmers to mitigate against shocks in traditional markets.
Ukienda Amerika wanakunywa Fanta, ukija Kenya wanakunywa Fanta. Walijuaje iko Fanta? Ni kwa sababu kuna watu walishughulika na mambo ya kuuza hiyo jina ya Fanta, na ni lazima sisi kama Wakenya ni lazima tuanze kuuza nchi ya Kenya majani ya Kenya, Kenya tea.
CS Kagwe was speaking at the Kapsara Tea Factory during the presentation of a 44.6 million shilling state grant to support factories' modernization and value addition plan. Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
Kenya is seeking to deepen trade and investment ties with China through a fashion and lifestyle exhibition, bringing together manufacturers, local businesses, and the creative industry. The 3-day event in Nairobi is showcasing products across the fashion, home and consumer sectors, with organizers seeking to create new business linkages and expand access to regional and international markets. Close to 100 Chinese companies and about 20 Kenyan firms are taking part in the 3rd edition of the East Africa Kenya Fashion Life Show, showcasing products ranging from textiles and apparel to footwear, fashion accessories and beauty products. The exhibition also features home and lifestyle products, watches, packaging, home appliances, and consumer electronics.
This exhibition provides exactly that opportunity you need. It brings together entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors under one roof, creating meaningful business-to-business engagements, technology transfer, opportunities and access to regional and international markets.
Beyond showcasing products, organizers are using the platform to connect manufacturers with the Kenyan creative industry and businesses, with matchmaking sessions aimed at identifying opportunities for cooperation and investment.
We are placing great emphasis on business matchmaking. During the exhibition, we will organize 2 specialized supply and demand matchmaking sessions. One will focus on watch and clocks, and the other on home appliance and consumer electronics. Through this session,
the initiative also seeks to strengthen Kenya's fashion value chain by connecting local designers with international fabric suppliers and supporting cooperation with local fashion institutes.
Manufacturers will have a direct discussion with Kenya importers, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, and professional buyers. We hope these meetings will lead to real business results. Not only new contacts and discussions, but also orders, distribution partnership, and long-term cooperation.
Organizers of the event say Kenya's strategic location and growing private sector make it an ideal gateway to the wider East African market, with the exhibition expected to strengthen trade ties between Kenya, China, and the region. The International Energy Agency has cut its forecast for global oil demand in 2026, citing the continued closure of the Strait of Hormuz and elevated fuel prices weighing on consumption. The IEA's August oil market report now forecasts global oil demand to decline by 1.6 million barrels per day in 2026, 510,000 barrels per day more than its July estimate. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
Global oil supply rose 2.4 million barrels per day to 101 million barrels per day in July, but remained 6.3 million barrels per day below early year levels as renewed hostilities and maritime disruptions in July and early August prompted the IEA to cut its third quarter supply forecast by 1.7 million barrels per day. Gulf oil production rose 2.5 million barrels per day in July to 23.9 million barrels per day, though it remains 8.3 million barrels per day below the pre-war levels. With an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and secure transit through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait still elusive, the IEA now expects global oil supply to fall by 4.3 million barrels per day in 2026 to 102 million barrels per day. Benchmark crude prices surged to a 2-month high in July, trading within an unusual wide $40 per barrel range as diplomatic expectation shifted. The IEA projects global oil demand to expand by 2.4 million barrels per day in 2027. Meanwhile, Chinese animation has become the box office powerhouse, with homegrown animated features now commanding nearly half of China's domestic film market, up from a niche, largely kids-oriented category a year ago. This summer's hit, All Wishes Come True, inspired by the legend of the 8 immortals, has earned roughly $20.6 million in 3 weeks. Has earned roughly $20.6 million in 3 weeks, topping this year's animation chart and entering China's all-time box office top 10. The trend traces back to 2015's Monkey King, Heroes Back, which grossed nearly $1 billion before the Nizar broke $5 billion in 2019. In 2025, Nizar 2 reached $15.4 billion, becoming the highest-grossing animation feature globally. Last year, 3 animated titles, Nizar 2, Zootopia 2, and Nobody, together accounted for 42% of China's annual ticket sales. Finally, U.S. inflation remains elevated as energy prices, driven up by ongoing conflict with Iran, continue to weigh on consumer prices. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Wednesday that the consumer prices index rose 3.4% year-on-year in July, slightly below June's 3.5%, while headline inflation edged up 0.1% month-on-month. Gasoline prices fell 2.9% in July, while electricity prices rose 0.1%. Although energy prices have eased from their peak this year, they remain higher than the same period last year. Inflation continues to run above the Federal Reserve's 2% annual target and above the pace of the wage growth.
And that's all the time we had for you tonight on Easy Friday Business News. And remember, if you're a diesel consumer of fuel, tomorrow you'll be paying less than 5 shillings. Don't go too far. Karen Kibet is coming with the latest in the world of sports, but for now we're taking a quick break. My name is Ndotamo Kami. Do have yourselves a wonderful evening.
Get ready for a captivating continental football extravaganza. KBC Channel 1 brings you exclusive coverage of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. From Sunday the 26th of July to Sunday the 16th of August 2026. Welcome to Morocco! Morocco is the battleground as Nigeria defend their title against 15 other nations fighting to lift the prestigious trophy. Who will be crowned Queens of African Football? Courtesy of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Watch all the action unraveling on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Did not want to feel. I was afraid of pain. I was afraid of losing my brother. I was afraid of humiliation. I was afraid of having to lose everything and start all over again.
Lord took the anger out of my heart, but it required, that taking required surrender on my part. It required me handing that over to the Lord, and then he took it from me.
This is all pointing back to God. And this is just a tool of expression to share my deep and intimate experiences with the Lord through my journey in my life.
On this day, ask God to help you. He is right there and he is waiting for you. Trust him. The journey is worth it.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at all the sports stories making headlines tonight. Now, President William Ruto has given Kenya's bid to host the 2029 World Athletics Championships his personal backing, as Nairobi made its case before World Athletics top leadership on Thursday evening. The Nairobi 2029 bid committee presented its formal submission to World Athletics President Lord Sebastian Coe and the World Athletics Council on Thursday, ahead of the deadline.
President Ruto assured the evaluation panel that Kenya is ready to meet the financial, operational and security requirement of hosting the Global Championship.
This bid carries the full backing, commitment and pride of the government of Kenya and the unwavering support of my office.
He also pledged streamlined immigration and visa on arrival arrangements, as well as world-class security for athletes, officials and fans.
We are also transforming our sporting infrastructure. Our iconic stadium, including the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, have undergone comprehensive modernization to meet and exceed the highest international standards.
To be able to host this, it is a big thing for us to see to that most of the young generations in track and field in our nation will be able to witness this at their home ground.
Bid committee chairman Ibrahim Hussein said Kenya's long-standing dominance in athletics makes Nairobi a natural choice, describing the bid as an opportunity for Africa to host the championship for the very first time.
For the last 40 years, Kenyans have given their heart to the global stage. And now Nairobi is ready to welcome the world home.
Nairobi is competing against London, Rome and Munich for the 2029 and 2031 editions.
Nairobi 2029 is not just a bid for the championship. It is an investment in the future of global athletics. Let us inspire the next generation right here where the champions are born. Karibuni Nairobi.
This is a real opportunity for Africa, the young continent with young people, with young energy. This is the best opportunity for our country, Kenya. And on the other hand, is giving back to a young country which has been producing a lot of athletes for a very long time.
World Athletics say the winning host cities for both the championships will be announced simultaneously on September 15th following the inaugural Ultimate Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
And may the results favor Kenya and Nairobi. The Nairobi Hospital has hosted the 2026 Children's Charity Heart Fund Golf Tournament at Karen Country Club, bringing together golfers, corporate partners, sponsors and philanthropists to raise funds for children in need of specialized care. The Children's Charity Heart Fund has over the years enabled more than 400 children to receive free life-saving heart surgeries.
The annual tournament is aimed at mobilizing resources to support children diagnosed with congenital and acquired heart condition, particularly those from disadvantaged background who cannot afford specialized treatment.
We receive a number of cases like that in the hospital, and as Kenyans, we really have to give back to the society.
The fundraiser brings together the corporate community, healthcare partners, and individual donors in an effort to expand access to services.
You can imagine going through the 18 hole. All of us, we have committed to be healthy to our hearts. We have raised funds to help somebody else, so that will increase life expectancy for those who are participating and also for those who will be financially assisted.
The Nairobi Hospital Chief Executive Officer Felix Osano says the initiative helps bridge the gap for children who need urgent heart treatment but lack the financial means to access care.
The demand out there is very high for this kind of cases. We can only do so much. So what we are promising is that with the partnership that we are building with our sponsors, who have been very, very kind to us to offer us a very good sponsorship.
The hospital says every contribution towards the tournament goes towards supporting diagnostics, surgery, and specialized cardiac care.
Take an in-depth view of who really is deserving. Because, I mean, if we just leave it that we are going to open it up to anybody else, we won't be able to, really take care of everybody. The resources, as you can imagine, are only as limited as they can get. But then now we have to ensure that just the very, very needy cases are the ones that we are taking.
And finally, in sports, Nigeria's hopes of qualifying for next year's FIFA Women's World Cup have come to an end after losing 2-1 to South Africa in a playoff at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The defeat means the Super Falcons will miss the Women's World Cup for the first time in their history.
Nigeria entered the tournament as African top-ranked side and defending champions, but the campaign entered in the quarterfinals after a 3-1 defeat by Cameroon. They were handed another opportunity to keep their World Cup hopes alive through the playoff, but South Africa secured victory with second-half goals from Debbie Katlana and Refilo Jen. Nigeria pulled one back in stoppage time through Christy Ucheibe from the penalty spot after Jen was sent off for handling the ball inside the box. South Africa and Ghana will now represent Africa in the FIFA Interconfederation playoff for places at the next year's World Cup in Brazil.
And that report brings us to the end of Easy Friday tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us since 9 p.m. We don't take that for granted. My name is Karen Kibet. I'll see you next Friday on Easy Friday. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Our sign language interpreter this evening has been Lucy Moura. Enjoy your weekend.